Hey, y'all. Welcome to this video today. This is Toni with Eat and Travel with Toni, and I'm here to do, of course, I'm making oatmeal raisin cookies, so make sure that you, of course, subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell to receive all the videos I upload from this point here on out. And if you ain't seen those in the past, as I always say, go check them out too. But like I said, in this particular video, I am making my famous, awesome recipe for oatmeal raisin cookies, but I wanted to just talk about some things, talk to you all about some things today as well. Some things, of course, about the business, about the cookie business I have and that kind of thing as well, and how I'm trying to, not trying, but how I am shifting and that type of thing, and just trying to see what works. Because I know a lot of times we, of course, business owners, we're small business, we're at home, or I'm working full time and I run my business out of my home, so I'm not just working a cookie business. But like I said, there are some who are just working a cookie business. But this will, of course, apply to all of us. I guess I put it that way. Whether you're a full-time employee with a side hustle or you just have your side hustle business at home. But like I said, I know a lot of times we, of course, are trying to do business, and things just don't seem to be working, at least in my situation. Things are working to a certain extent, but if I feel like I'm still missing something is not clicking somewhere. I guess I put it that way. So, of course, I made a shift probably about, maybe a month and a half ago, to start doing local cookie drops every weekend and that kind of thing. And of course, I'm still doing the vendor events. I only do like one or two vendor events a month, or pop-up events, whatever they're called in your area. I do like one or two a month. Right now is one for this month. Next month I'll have two. But like I said, that's the time that I usually sell a lot of the cookies, a lot of the stuff that I'm making. I always sell them. People always love the cookies, of course. But what I'm trying to do, of course, while I go to the events, the pop-up events, they're not anything that I actually like to do at all. To me, it just takes a lot of time to do all the setup, all the tear down, all the fixing up the tables, doing all this stuff, carrying all this stuff. I don't like doing all that at all. I really don't. And I know I'm not the only one out there who do not like doing vendor events. And it's not like I just hate them totally, period. I will, of course, continue to do them until I get more, like I said, more eyeballs in my business and get my business out there more, that kind of thing, or until I come up with a different strategy for my business. And like I said, that's the point that I'm at now. Of course, I'm still pushing the weekly drops, and I'll put that information in the description of this video so that you can also check it out. Here comes an Army plane. We're by the Air Force Base, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not, but they come by here often. I put it that way, flying by, 2 jets at a time and all the helicopters and all this. But let me get back on track, y'all, before I forget what I was talking about. But like I said, definitely, I don't like doing the vendor events. Yes, I have said that I hate them at one point, which I kind of do. Like I said, it's just a lot for me to do. But like I said, at this point, I'm just trying to figure out other ways to promote my cookie business. And like I said, just let people know that I exist and that type of thing, besides doing vendor events. I know they seem to be a lot popular nowadays. This is 2025. They've been a lot popular for the past few years, I guess, for vendor events and that kind of thing. But I know that is not a way to, of course, create a sustainable business. Yes, while you'll make sales at the cookie events and that kind of thing, which is fine and dandy, because I make sales at the cookie events. The highest one I've made was like a little bit over $1,000. That was one of the vendor events I did here in town in Arizona, but that wasn't consistent. That event is only one time a year. So, and like I said, the other smaller vendor events, I don't pull in that much at all. So like I said, definitely just trying to figure out other ways to run the business here, like I said, in southern Arizona. And I'm sure other people can, of course, relate to this too, because like I said, I know that doing pop-ups and vendor events is not a way to run a sustainable business. And when I mean sustainable, a sustainable business that will take you into years down the line, you're still making money, you still have regular customers. That's what I mean by sustainable. I've been doing vendor events, I guess, but since I moved, I just used here in Arizona. I've been doing them regularly since I've been here for the past almost 3 years. And of course, like I said, it's not that I hate them totally. It's just I don't like all the setup and all the time it takes, and then sometimes you get there, you don't even make your money back. The money back that you paid for the event. So say if the event was $100 for you to pay for to join the vendor event or pop-up event. So if you don't sell at least $100 worth of products, to me it's just a waste of time to go. Like I said, for those 4 or 5 hours that you're sitting there, you're not even getting paid minimum wage for one. But I'm just like, okay, this is kind of crazy. But like I said, I just don't like that. And like I said, that's my mindset when it comes to things like that. if it's wasting my time, that's something that I don't need to do. Yes, I'll continue doing it for the time being until I create a different strategy. Well, I guess strategy for me to move forward, which I am working on one right now. I don't want to say it in the video because like I said, I just thought about this yesterday, and today I've been trying to dwell on it some more and that kind of thing. So it's nothing set in stone, but like I said, just trying to figure out other ways to, of course, to do this business. Like I said, I have attended all the vendor events, and not all, but vendor events regularly. And of course, if you know anything about Southern Arizona, in Tucson, it gets up to 100 and some degrees, 120, 115 almost every day for at least 5 or 6 months in the spring and summertime. So you can't really be outside selling cookies and cakes and all. I mean, you can, I guess, but when I've tried, it's been melting. My chocolate melts, my stuff melts. It's hot. The bags are sweaty. I don't want to sell anybody any products like that, and I refuse to do so. So I have found a place that, of course, that's inside, but like I said, it's only once or twice a month. And it's just the same location, but it's not all around the community and that kind of thing, especially during the summer months and the spring and summer months, which other areas may not be that way. You may be able to do it all year long, just around in different areas in other states. But like I said, here, it gets very, very hot. It's unbearable to be outside, whether you have a tent or not, when it's 115, 120 every day for several months at a time. So like I said, I have to devise another plan to do something different, not do something different as far as the cookie business. But, well, yeah, it is, do something different. But have a different strategy. That's what I meant for the cookie business. Because like I said, this is not a sustainable thing for me. Of course, I can't quit my job. I can't make enough money, of course, selling cookies like that. $1,000 one time a year, like at one event, is not going to be enough to sustain my household, I guess I put it that way either. So like I said, definitely just trying to figure out some ways that I can, of course, get regular clientele, because outside of the vendor events, I don't have any other clients. I've had 2 sales in the past month and a half, and that's been actually, I guess, all year long, I put it that way, outside the vendor events. Here in Southern Arizona, they have vendor events, I'm not exaggerating, but just about they have several of them every single day across the county, across the town. And like I said, it's really big business out here for those who, of course, run those things. But like I said, it's not a sustainable way to run a business for us small business owners, not even food trucks, unless you have a place that you can sit constantly and that kind of thing, instead of going back and forth and just getting sales whenever you get to the event and just not having a sustainable way to, of course, to keep the income flowing. Like I said, that doesn't work for any business. And like I said, I knew that, of course, when I started doing the events here. So like I said, that's why I'm trying to think of work on another sustainable way. Like I said, to, of course, create the business, because like I said, this just isn't going to work for me. I really do want to do this full time. I'm out of my home, of course. I'm a cottage food business here. So of course I can do it out of my home. There's no cap to the income that I can make. I can make whatever I want to make at home in the state of Arizona, which is a good thing. Because some states do have caps. You can't make more than $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 or that kind of thing. But here they have none, and now you can sell food out your house, cook food, I put it that way, out your house too. So like I said, definitely just working on some different plans and figuring some other things out. Because like I said, this isn't going to work for me with all these vendor events, trying to set up, take down, all that type of stuff. And like I said, I know I'm not by myself. Put down in the comments if you like doing vendor events as well, or pop-up events, and how it's working out for you. I'm sure you make sales when you go, but do you make sales outside of those events? Like I said, for me, I just haven't. People here seem to want to just buy at the events, is what it seems to me. I don't know if your town is like that, but like I said, I can't speak for all the residents here in this county, but that's from what those I run into. Like I said, that's just what it seems to me. And I did like a small poll on my page, and people were saying that they just rather just pick them up whenever they want to at the vendor event. Or so, like I said, that's just, like I said, with my little research. And also what I've been seeing being a business owner here, it just seems like that's all this town is ran on, vendor events. And like I said, that's not a way for any small business to create a sustainable business over the years. It's not at all. At the time, in the moment, yes, but it's not going to be a consistent income at all. And I'm sure we all know that. None of the vendor events we go to is going to make the same amount of money every single time. Sometimes you want to make much, like I have, over a little bit over $1,000. Other times you want to make $1. But like I said, that's the life of vendor and pop-up events. But like I said, I'm working on some other ways. Like I said, I'm hoping this is helping somebody to just know that you can work on other ways to, of course, figure out how to do your business. Just because, of course, the community you live in or wherever you stay at, that kind of thing, and they have pop-up events and vendor events, which is fine. I think most cities have them now. But like I said, you don't have to follow that trend if you don't want. Like I said, I have been following it since I've been here. I'm not telling you don't, because if it's making you something, some type of money, then go ahead and keep doing it until you can figure out something else that you can do to create a momentum and to create sustainable business for your company. For your small business. But like I said, it definitely, like I said, you can always switch lanes. Just know that. You can always switch lanes. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially in business, especially if you're doing one thing and or several things and all those several things ain't working, nothing's bringing you income, the people aren't even, they can care less, there's like no eyeballs on your business. Like I said, it's always okay to, of course, switch things up a little bit to see what people are going to gravitate to and what they're not going to gravitate to. Like I said, that is definitely okay to do, because that's what I'm doing right now too, just trying to see what's going to happen with this particular, like I said, with the cookie boxes I have and with the weekly pop-up events that are cookie drops that I have from my home and stuff like that. So like I said, definitely I'm just playing with things to see how they're going to go. And like I said, just know that you can definitely do that as well. You don't have to stick to one thing, just vendor events or just taking them to work. You don't have to just do one thing. Just figure out, like I said, keep on working on different creative ideas that can help you, of course, like I said, create that sustainable business that you want. Unless you love vendor events and you don't care about going out there in the heat, the cold, the elements. I've been rained on, all types of things at these events, y'all. I'm sure y'all have been too. Some of y'all out there, I'm sure y'all have. Put it in the comments. But like I said, definitely just knowing. Some folks love that. Like I said, those events, while other folks like me don't. And like I said, we have to think of another way to, of course, attract the business, to, of course, get our products out there, even if we're giving them away for free at some point. Because I did that back in St. Louis for a little bit. Then things started gradually picking up and that kind of thing as well. But of course, we moved here, so I'm kind of starting over. I ain't gonna say starting over, but I'm starting from where I'm at. Like I said, doing the vendor events. That's all I have been doing. But like I said, something has to change, y'all. And like I said, I know some of y'all out there in baking businesses or craft businesses or that kind of thing too, wondering why in the heck my product ain't selling. I'm posting on social media, ain't nothing happening. Like I said, sometimes you have to devise a different strategy that may or may not deal with social media. It just depends on what you're looking to do and how far you're looking to take your business to as well. Yes, we can use social media to, of course, let folks know if they even see the post. Most don't, but if they do see the post, to let them know what we have, what we're doing, all those types of things too. But just keep in mind, you can run a business offline. It just depends on what kind of business you have and what kind of connections you have and that type of thing as well. But like I said, we have social media is changing so much. It used to be, of course, just the friends that you were in contact with and the friends that liked your page and followed you. They'll see your post, but nowadays they don't even see your post, especially if they're not even interacting with your content. If nobody's pressing the like button, nobody's commenting, nobody's going to see your post. It may just be a few people, maybe like 1% of the people that's on your list, possibly, if they even see it. Most of the time, because I see folks across social media making comments about how their reach isn't good anymore, how nobody's seeing their posts. And that's true for all of us, I'm sure. But like I said, we have to know that we can always switch things up. You're a small business owner, like I said, let me know in the comments what kind of business you own, and whether you do pop-up or vendor events, whichever one they call them in your area. They call them both. They call them craft fairs and that kind of thing here too. So whatever name you use, like I said, make sure that you put that in the comments and let me know how many you do a month. And of course, like I said, let me know if it's profitable for you to be going to these events, doing these events. Like I said, for me, doing the event itself, sometimes it's profitable, sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'm just sitting there 4 and 5 hours and making maybe like a few sales, $50, or it doesn't even cover the cost of me paying for the event. Like I said, it's not worth it at times. A lot of times, actually. Especially depends on the market. And I'll do another video about that. Because that's a whole nother game of things. So, like I said, I'll definitely do another video about that. But like I said, in this video, I just want to encourage you and let you know that if one thing is not working, try something else. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're not too inexperienced. Try something else. And if you don't know what the heck you're doing, to try something else, ask. I can't say ask people. It just depends on the people that you ask. They don't know how to do business or that kind of thing. It's pointless to ask them. But I've been using ChatGPT a lot. The AI, I've been using it almost every day, a lot, to run my ideas past it, getting some feedback about my posts. I have my social media pages looking. I've been using that thing. That's my best friend right now, my best business friend. And like I said, you can use that too. But like I said, you can switch things up if it's not working for you and what you're doing, y'all. So with that, y'all, like I said, I hope this video inspired somebody to just know, like I said, that you don't have to keep doing the same things if it's not working. I know I'm talking about business, but this can be relationships too. So I'm a social worker and a life coach. It's the same thing when it comes to relationships too. Sometimes you just got to switch things up and be okay with that. So with that, y'all, again, this is Toni with Eat and Travel with Toni. Make sure that you, of course, subscribe to my channel. And, of course, share this out with your friends on your social medias. And I'm sure there's other folks out there who may want to hear this type of message about their business because it's not working for them either. Or something's going on and they're trying to figure out what the heck to do. I hope that this touches somebody to, of course, let them know that you can do a lot more or different things and switch things up. There's nothing wrong with that. So with that, y'all, take care. I'll see y'all in the next video. Like I said, if you have any comments, questions, anything like that, put it down below. And like I said, again, let me know if you have a small business that you run out your house. Like I said, mine is a cookie business, baking business. If you have one of those, definitely put it in the comments as well. And let me know if you're doing vendor events and how they're working out for you. So with that, y'all, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a good one.